and Recreation is a vertically integrated cannabis company and multi-state operator headquartered in Arizona. HARV.C license and service provision footprint includes Arizona, California, Florida, Maryland, Nevada, North Dakota, and Pennsylvania. It owns CO2 extraction, distillation, purification, and manufacturing technology used in the manufacture of cannabis topicals, vapes, and gems, as well as a hemp-derived product line sold in Colorado. With a full line of cannabis consumer packaged goods and brands, HARV.C is poised to take advantage of Arizona's recent legalization of recreational marijuana, as well as the wave of legalization taking place across America. If any of this has left you confused, you are in the right place. My name is Maddy Grace, and this is 5 Easy Questions, breaking down the public market for new investors. Today, I'm speaking with HARV.C Health and Recreation CEO and board member, Steve White, for a layperson translation of the market, the company, and its leadership. Thank you so much for being here today, Steve.
Thank you, Maddy. It's my pleasure.
All righty. Are you good to start? 5 easy questions?
5 easy questions.
All right, let's go. Number one, what does it mean to be vertically integrated in the legal cannabis sector?
Okay. So when you think about legalized cannabis, what you're thinking about is cultivating the biomass, using that either to sell into stores or convert it into products. So then if it converts into products, you have a manufacturing operation as well. And then ultimately you're going to sell directly to consumers typically through retail stores. So a full vertically operated operator is somebody who has cultivation, manufacturing, and retail capacity. And so companies like HARV.C, in most states that we operate, we are fully vertically integrated. So we're farmers, we're manufacturers, and we're retailers.
Amazing. All right. What are the stages of cannabis legalization in the US and how are they different in terms of business?
So there are, I guess, really 3 stages. First, there are states where it's fully illegal, and those are now the minority. And so in those states, there is no business. There's no legal business for us to do there, and therefore no business for HARV.C. The second stage is typically they go in stages. So typically a state goes from fully illegal to allowing medical sales. And so you have those states. The second stage would be, medical markets. And that's actually where we have concentrated the bulk of our efforts. And that's where we've made the bulk of our money. It's also true that if you do the medical market well, it sets you up to take advantage of the third stage, which is oftentimes you see these medical markets transition to recreational sales. And so that would be the third and final stage. And when you are in a recreational environment, you don't have any, at least at the state level, you don't have any big catalysts coming. But for us, we have 4 core markets that we operate in, currently only selling medical, looking forward to recreational sales in one of them coming very soon, and hopefully all 3 of them not too far away.
All righty. Why can't every American cannabis company operate in multiple states?
It's really expensive to do so.
Okay.
If you think about that vertical integration that we talked about, in some states it's required. Even the state of Florida, for example, requires you, anything that you sell on your shelves, you have to grow, then you have to convert to products before you can actually sell it. So there's no wholesale market. And so if you are operating effectively in Florida, it means you're spending tens of millions of dollars to create the products necessary to open a single store and have things on your shelves, because of all the infrastructure necessary in order to grow the plant at the very onset. And so the reason that you can't just go and operate across the country is because we don't have unlimited capital. If we did, there's no shortage of opportunities in the US cannabis market. But for us, given the fact that we have limited access to capital and limited bandwidth, management bandwidth, we want to focus on the ones that provide the best opportunities.
Great. Alrighty. What are the reasons behind divesting assets?
Well, you would divest assets for, I think, really 2 reasons. One, you get an offer that you can't refuse for some of your assets. And so in one instance, we received an offer for assets that, based on our own internal modeling, would take us, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 years to create that amount of cash. And so you divest those assets, and that creates additional capital for you to invest in the ones that are your core assets, where you do need to build additional infrastructure. And then the other reason why you would divest assets is because a lot of us operate across many, many states. And if a state is not one that you really plan on being in long term, it's really hard to invest the management, the brain power that it takes to manage in areas where you ultimately aren't going to see big returns. So it's easier to divest those assets, focus, that brain power in the places where you are going to see better returns.
Great. And lastly, how, if at all, is your company practicing sustainability or implementing any sustainable practices?
So we're doing it all over the place. And the reason it's almost, one of the things that happens is in most of these states that are limited license states, you go through this application process.
Mm-hmm.
Harvest has been very successful at that process. Part of the reason is because what you do in that process is you set out what your plans are going to be. And then somebody is going to grade your application and choose you to come into their community. Having sustainable practices is something that states are always looking at. And so to the extent that we're able to successfully integrate those into initial states and we're able to do it well in one place, it allows us as a company to actually be more successful and to grow more successfully through that application process. Besides actually just doing the right thing.
Yay. Right answer. Okay. I have a quick rapid fire round. These are the real hard hitting questions. Are you ready?
I guess I am. Yes.
Okay. Let's go. Tea or coffee?
Neither. Water.
What is the first thing you do in the morning?
Turn on the shower.
What is your favorite sport to watch?
Football.
What is your favorite sport to play?
God, I think I'm too old to play sports. I guess it has to be, I have to get on the mountain bike. But everything else hurts too much.
Favorite book?
I have not read a book in over a year. I just don't have time anymore. And I will never reread one because I don't have enough time to do it. So I don't think I have.
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
That's okay. That happens. Cat or dog?
Zero. Say that.
Cat or dog?
Dog. Yeah.
Good.
Big dog.
Long-term value investor or a day trader?
Oh, long-term value all day long. Day trading's just, it's hard. And it doesn't, to me, I guess maybe I'm not smart enough to understand it. What I'm smart enough to understand is you invest on fundamentals and principles. And then over time, you're going to see a return when you do that. Day trading is, I don't know what drives that sometimes.
What's going on with that?
Right. I don't.
Suit and tie or casual?
Oh, t-shirt and shorts all day long. But unfortunately, sometimes I don't get to make that choice.
Not allowed. If you had $1,000 to invest, what company would it be? Not your own.
Well, there goes my first choice.
I know. You're like, obviously.
You know what I would do? I would cheat. Can I cheat and invest it in a fund that includes harvest? There's a really creative fund called MSOs, and it actually trades on Robinhood. And it's a way that people can actually invest in U.S. cannabis companies, despite the fact that we all have to trade in Canada. So MSOS would be where I'd go with it.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's fair. And then last question, what was the last movie that you watched?
So I'm in the middle of a series called Shooter.
Oh.
It's based on a Mark Wahlberg movie that is pretty brainless. Season 2, and season 2 is now deviated from the movie that the series is based on, so it's not as good. But series 1 is worth it.
There you go. All righty, that is all for today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun.
And yes, we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.